All right, welcome to Coach on a Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, and it is Coach on a Couch. We're going to rename it Coach on a Court today, is what we're going to say, here in Stratford with girls basketball coach Tammie Christopherson. Coach, thanks for waiting for me after practice today. We appreciate you spending the time. Let's just start with how many years you've been coaching and what keeps you coming back every year.
You know, this is my 23rd year coaching, and so what keeps me coming back are the kids. You know, I have an incredible passion for this game that my dad instilled in me when I was 5 years old, and I honestly can't imagine my life without it. And I have just worked with some incredible young ladies throughout the year, and I still have a fire and a passion to reach goals and to compete. And I love the game, so that's what keeps bringing me back.
So we think back to last year a little bit, conference champions last year. You were edged out on the road in the playoffs, but I mean conference championship. So we're coming off of that. There's always good moments in the season, always good memories. Maybe just give us one or two of those, and coming off of a conference championship last year as well. You
know, it was a huge win for us to get a conference championship. The group of seniors that I graduated out, that was our goal for many years. And you know, we had 3- and 4-year varsity starters on that team. And, you know, it was a year that was not an easy year and a lot of ups and downs. And, you know, we ended up out right before playoffs. And I really don't think that did us a whole lot of favors playing close games. But those girls fought incredibly hard. And, you know, it was a dream come true for them. And some, you know, highlights, like I look back at that season. I mean, we found out at noon on one day, went up to Rhinelander. It was probably the ugliest game in the world. And we won 27-26, and we had 27 turnovers. But it was like we weren't prepared. We didn't know anything about them, but we just gutted our way through it. And I think another highlight of the season was the win in Lakeland. Brianna Ackley scored 1,000 points there. And just the team effort. And, you know, Emily Hughes came in with a huge night. I think Bree had 35. She had 21. And I don't think a lot of people thought we were going to come in and win that game. And I said moments like that are ones that I'll cherish for a long time.
Yeah, the Womettes are big-time basketball people out there, so always a challenge when you go up to Minocqua. You mentioned some of your seniors. I'll say names at the risk of always missing some, and hopefully you can clean up my mess here a little bit. But you mentioned Brianna Ackley, Emily Hughes, Tanea Schillinger, others that we kind of say goodbye to now officially, at least you and I do. What you've talked about it a little bit, but you know that senior class was pretty special.
You know, they were a pretty special group. You know, and it's not often you have 5 seniors that start, and that group was kind of in the youth when I first came through Stratford. So I said, it's kind of like watching your babies grow up and then move on, you know, and it was a tough thing to say goodbye. But, you know, as we start this year, you know, we have a group of hungry young players as well that, you know, I think we're a team that's going to continually build and get better throughout the whole season. I've even seen in this first week and a half us make leaps and bounds from day 1 to day 7, 8. So working on improving some skills, but we're getting there.
I'm not familiar with all the practice jersey numbers. I don't know if they'll translate to game numbers, but yeah, good.
They don't.
Good. So I'm going to get a lot of stuff wrong then, and that's okay. But I had the pleasure of being at your scrimmage last week over in Marshfield. One, you talked about growth and you know, kids that are kind of coming on and coming into that next year. Lauren Krause really stood out to me. She has really grown by leaps and bounds even since last year.
You know, she definitely has. She worked incredibly hard in the off season this year, and I'll be honest, she didn't put the ball down from last season to this season. And you know, if I talk about somebody that really stood out to me in the scrimmage too, was her. I felt like she is our rock, and you know, she is the one returning player that has a significant amount of time. She's been on varsity since her freshman year. She was our first post off the bench last year, so she is our one player with an extensive varsity time, and she's showing it. She's one of our captains this year, and she's being an incredible leader. And that girl, it's just no quit, no excuses. Like, she will give you 110% absolutely every day.
Give you a chance to advertise the rest of the girls. You know, during the course of a season, names will become familiar, and names will sometimes come out of nowhere. Who are some of those other girls that you're really depending on this season?
You know, and it's going to be a group effort. We talk about having for several years a Bree Ackley and an Emily Hughes. We're always good for 12, 15, 20 a night sometimes. And I think we're more of a team that will be balanced in the scoring this year. We talk about all of us looking to score, being aggressive to the rim. We have a pretty strong junior class, and we'll be starting 5 juniors tomorrow night. So we have Lauren Kraus. Our other post player is Tess Berg. And then at the guard, we have Bailey Linsmeyer, Lexi Christopherson, and then Ella Heidemann, too. And fortunately, we have a couple guards on varsity that are out with a few injuries right now. But Allison Linder will be another strong guard for us as soon as we can get her healthy and back on the court.
Coaching's a big part. I've said for a long time that coaching is more important at the lower levels of a game. So, in middle school, high school, college, and professional, all the way on up. Some new faces on your coaching staff. So maybe take a minute to introduce the world to the rest of your coaching staff.
So. I'm here, Tammie Christopherson, been here a long time. Greg Belter is still volunteering and helping us. He's helping with boys and girls program this year. Tiana Voda is our JV coach, and then so this is her second year. And then Macy Free is my new assistant coach. And Tiana and Macy both were in the same class in high school, both played for me here at Stratford. So as a coach, that makes me really proud, too, that I'm bringing back former players to coach in this program, too. That means a lot to me.
We're standing here almost where the bleachers will be pulled out for your first home game, and unlike last year, it's all aboard this year. Come on into the gym. So take a moment just to tell folks to come on in and how important it is to have the people here to cheer you and the girls on.
Even the scrimmage, we had a pretty full house there, and the kids are like, that's the first time we've played in front of a crowd, and it means the world to us. I know they're organizing beach theme night tomorrow night, and kids are excited and parents are excited, and I said, people don't realize how hard it was at times to play last year with a tiny crowd. I said we win a conference championship in front of 40 people, where in a normal year it would have been packed floor to ceiling. And so the girls are really, really looking forward to having a full house and having a lot of people here tomorrow night and cheering us on. I think everybody is. We're ready to kind of have a little more normalcy.
We'll kind of begin to end this one here. Just 2 last things. This is a question I like to ask. I know the audience hears this all the time, but answers are different depending on who I'm talking to. So, whether it's the opener or during the season, regardless of the score on the scoreboard, say the first 5-8 minutes of a game, how do people know that things are going according to Coach Christopherson's plan?
Well, if it's going according to my plan, we're probably winning. And I just talked about that with the kids on the way out. We're going to have highs and we're going to have lows in that game. And the big thing for us is if we make a mistake with a young team with limited varsity experience, we can't let it snowball. We are playing a team that's the defending state champions. And so we graduated some, they did too, but they're returning a few more of their players than we had in the starting lineup. So I said, this is not for the faint of heart. I said, we start this season off with a young team and we play Assumption, Auburndale, and Neelsville in a week and a half. So we're going to be battle tested right from the start. So these kids are competitors, though. So I have all the faith in the world we're going to be fine.
I'm glad you brought that up. This will be our last one. Just talk about where you think you stack up in the conference this year. You talked about Assumption might have the best guard in the conference, or certainly debatable that the best guard resides there at Assumption. In Edgar, there's a little bit of height. There's, all the teams have things that they do well. Where do you think you and your girls stack up conference-wise?
I'm always asked this question, and I don't think there's ever an easy answer in the Marywood South. I also say, I don't know if people understand, how tough our conference is day in and day out. There is never an easy win. There's never a for sure thing. I look at a lot of teams, and I think it's going to be a lot like last year, where there's no one that's going to just come through unscathed. I said Edgar has a strong junior class, too, and they return a couple of seniors as well. We look at Auburndale, and the Owie girl is a really strong player, and they have a good junior class as well. Assumption, like you said, has one of the better guards, I think, in the whole area. She's an incredible scorer, and she's really quick. I don't think Marathon is ever, counted out either. So I always say when people ask me that, I'm not sure. And I can honestly say that this year, I think teams that can play consistent are going to rise to the top. But I also think we're all going to beat each other up a whole lot over the course of the next four months.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time. Best of luck this season. Again, number one goal is to get down to the gym, no matter where these girls are playing, and take in the game yourself. Get down there. They need it. They appreciate it. We're your plan B, but we'll be there for most of the games this year, Coach. We look forward to it. Matt Dickinson will be on the call for many of them. I might even stop in every now and then. So best of luck again, and we look forward to watching you and the girls play.